In the vast tapestry of nature, there exists a harsh and unforgiving rule. Life must pay the price of existence. Our story begins in the Riftlands, an arid region where the sun scorches the dust, and death can arrive at any moment in the form of a senseless wire snare. It is here we encounter a creature so rare it borders on myth, an albino lion cub. We called him Olly, the white ghost. 6 weeks old, his snow-white coat stood in stark contrast to the dull, yellow dust. He stood beside the cold body of his mother, a victim of the never-ending conflict between humanity and the wild. Olly's raw, desperate snarl, though unable to mask his exhaustion and hunger, was a stubborn declaration of the will to survive. In that moment of pure desperation, a human entered the scene. Ava, a Western journalist, had come to Africa to record numbers and statistics, maintaining a professional distance between herself and her subjects. Like most reporters, she prided herself on her objectivity and reason. But when faced with this tiny, fierce, yet fragile being, standing alone against the encroaching twilight, Ava's armor of logic shattered. The moment she removed her heavy jacket, its strange but warm scent became the first bridge. This was not the act of a scientist or a reporter, but the act of a heart that chose connection over separation. The rescue of Olly was not just an attempt to save a life, but a profound question about the nature of love. Could a human heartbeat ever replace the emptiness of nature? And could a woman find the true meaning of her life in the amber eyes of a lion cub? The journey to take Olly from the dry Riftlands to the Ark, the wildlife sanctuary, was a grueling trial. Though wrapped in Ava's warm jacket, the cub shivered constantly, not from cold, but from a primal fear and the fresh grief of loss. Ava had successfully created the first bridge, but keeping this life going in an artificial setting was a completely different battle. At the Ark, Olly was placed in a specialized care unit. Dr. Kai, the center's head veterinarian, a calm man with years of experience rescuing damaged souls, quickly began resuscitation protocols. Yet, for the first 48 hours, Olly seemed determined to give up. He refused the bottle, despite the gnawing hunger. He just paced the small room continuously, emitting shrill chirping sounds, more like a bird's call than a wild cat's roar. It was the sound of a cub desperately searching for his pride. His frail body revealed every rib, and his amber eyes were dull from weakness. Life was slipping away from him quickly. By the third night, Dr. Kai told Ava in a grave voice, making no attempt to hide his worry. He is grieving. With large cats, especially cubs, loss is not just physical, it's a rhythm of survival. He needs something more primal than milk. He needs a mother's heartbeat. Without that familiar rhythm, he feels he is already dead. If he doesn't eat tonight, we will lose Olly. That warning became the knife that cut Ava's last tie to her old professional life. She forgot the sanctuary's strict hygiene protocols, forgot the unfinished article and the deadline. She looked at the trembling creature in the corner, and in that moment, the reporter Ava stepped back, yielding to a maternal instinct. She opened the door to the infirmary, locked it from the inside, and lay down on the cold concrete floor. She gently picked Olly up, placing him directly on her chest, skin against fur, right over her heart. "Listen," she whispered, stroking his small ears. "Just listen." For a long, tense moment, Olly remained stiff. Then he felt it. The steady, rhythmic thump 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 thump. It was the familiar vibration, the sensation of resting against a living body, a perfect simulation of sleeping beside his mother. Olly's entire body relaxed. He burrowed into Ava's neck and began to emit a low rumble, a sound that vibrated deep in his chest like a small engine starting, his first purr. When Ava offered the bottle this time, Olly clamped onto the nipple and drank ravenously. That night, on the cold floor of the Ark, Ava was no longer a reporter. She became Olly's home. Her 3-week assignment had silently transformed into an unspoken vow. The subsequent weeks at the Ark were a magical period, a time Ava called her golden weeks. She had called headquarters, offering clumsy lies about logistical issues to stretch her assignment from 3 weeks to 6. During those 6 weeks, Ava was no longer a reporter. She was an indispensable part of Olly's tiny ecosystem. The biological imprinting was powerful. Like most naive large cat cubs, Olly needed constant reassurance. He had completely imprinted on Ava. To Olly, this woman with dark hair and a steady heartbeat was not human. She was the pride, the safety, the mother. They had developed their own language, a distinct, high-pitched chirp to signal anxiety, and a deep, rumbling purr when things were settled. Ava knew that if she left the room, even just to use the restroom, Olly would scream in panic until she returned. A common sight was Ava sitting on the floor, trying to type her scripts, while Olly climbed onto her shoulder, wrapped around her like a soft fur stole, licking her ear with his rough tongue. However, the real world always exists, cold and unyielding. In the 6th week, an email arrived from the city headquarters, bearing the red flag of urgency. The ultimatum was clear: return immediately to participate in the fall recruitment drive, or the contract would be terminated. Ava's entire life, her career, her mortgage, her meticulously built identity, lay across the ocean. This was the moment of a brutal choice. Ava tried every angle to stay, but logic dictated a harsh truth. Olly was a wild animal. He belonged to the African sun, to the vast savannas, not a cramped high-rise apartment. Keeping Olly with her would be selfish, a deprivation of the natural and magnificent future he deserved. She realized that the purest act of love sometimes demanded the greatest sacrifice, the sacrifice of her own personal happiness. To avoid a farewell scene that could psychologically traumatize Olly, Ava decided to pack in the middle of the night. She went to the care room one last time. Olly was fast asleep, his belly full and his breathing regular. Ava placed a kiss on the top of his head, inhaling deeply the familiar scent of milk and dust. "Be brave, Olly," she choked out. "I'm sorry I'm leaving you." She walked away before he woke up. The nearly 24-hour flight back to the US was an ordeal. Ava wept the entire way, feeling an invisible weight missing from her chest, a void that could never be filled again. She had returned to a successful life, but she knew she had left her heart behind, lying on the cold floor of the Ark. 5 years passed. In the human world, this is a long enough time to heal wounds and rebuild a life. Ava had done just that, becoming a celebrated news anchor, a successful, wealthy, and admired woman in the city. She appeared on screen looking impeccable, sharp, and professional. But deep down, she knew the truth. Her success was a hollow shell. Her large, lavishly decorated apartment felt more like a museum than a home, lacking the warmth and chaos of a truly connected life. The only thread linking her to reality, to the most genuine part of herself, was the monthly emails from Dr. Kai at the Ark. The letters often arrived late at night, bringing news of the boy Olly. The contents always made her heart flutter. He is magnificent. Now over 100 kilograms, one of the fastest athletes and a dominant lion in the sanctuary. But he is different. One specific email haunted Ava's dreams. Dr. Kai recounted that Olly was often allowed to act as an ambassador, meeting visitors in a carefully fenced area. But whenever he heard an American accent or saw a woman with dark hair near the fence, Olly would run over. He would stand there, rubbing his face against the wire mesh, emitting a distressed chirp. "He's always looking," Dr. Kai wrote. "He still hasn't forgotten." Memory is a wondrous and sometimes cruel thing in nature. For large cats, emotional imprinting can be stronger and more persistent than typical biological instincts. After 5 years of living in a void, Ava realized it was time to verify this truth. She planned meticulously, cleverly proposing a documentary series on African conservation, using her reputation to secure funding and a reason to return to the Ark. This was a professional cover for a desperate personal quest. Finally, she returned to the Riftlands. Ava did not announce her arrival to the staff. She hid behind an old jeep, observing. Olly was resting comfortably on a termite mound nearly 100 meters away. He was a majestic, large, adult lion, nothing like the weak, white ghost she had once saved. Ava stepped out of hiding. She did not wave. She simply called his name, using the high, distinctive tone she had used in the care room long ago. "Olly." The lion's head shot up instantly. He didn't walk, nor trot. He exploded into motion. He was a streak of muscle covered in white and gold spots, bolting in a split second. He charged straight at the chain-link fence, not an attack, but utter desperation. He rubbed his face against the mesh, pacing frantically back and forth, emitting that heartbreaking chirp. Ava knelt down on the other side of the fence, pressing her hand to the wire. Olly licked her fingers through the mesh. His amber eyes were locked onto hers. He recognized her. The bond she thought she had sacrificed for her career was still intact, stronger than time and distance. Ava understood that this story could not just be a personal memory. It was a powerful testament to the strength of memory and connection, a message the world needed to witness. She arranged a live satellite broadcast from a Nairobi studio, transmitting directly to her morning news show in the city. She gave Dr. Kai strict instructions. Bring Olly in, but don't let the audience, or even me, know exactly when he will appear. She wanted the moment to be pure, unadulterated truth. The broadcast began. Ava stood behind the news desk, impeccably dressed, looking perfect and composed. She spoke about the importance of conservation, about how we often underestimate the memory of wild species. We think survival instinct will crush emotion, she said, her heart pounding beneath her blazer. But sometimes, love leaves an imprint that biology cannot erase. And then, she heard it, the heavy, clanking sound of large claws on the studio floor. Dr. Kai walked in, holding a loose leash attached to the 100+ kilogram albino lion. Ava tried to continue reading the script on the teleprompter, but her heart was racing. Chirp! That small, questioning sound echoed in the silent space of the studio. Ava stopped mid-sentence and turned around. Olly stood a few meters away. He paused, his amber eyes locked on the woman in the blazer. He cocked his head, and then, in a decisive move, he yanked the leash from Dr. Kai's hand. The entire film crew held its breath. Olly crossed the studio. He did not attack. He stood on his hind legs, wrapped his enormous forelegs around Ava's shoulders, burying his face in her neck, nearly knocking her over on live television. The professional mask crumbled. Ava dropped the microphone. She wrapped her arms around the massive beast, burying her face in his thick fur. I'm sorry. Her voice broke, captured by her lapel mic. I'm sorry I left. I'm home. Olly's purr was so loud it sounded like thunder in the studio. He refused to let go, closing his eyes and placing his head exactly where it used to be, right over her heartbeat. 3 months later, Ava's resignation letter was placed on her desk in the city. She moved to Nairobi permanently, taking a job with a conservation fund, living in a small house on the Ark's grounds. Her career had ended, but her life's purpose had begun. Every morning, she walked to the fence, where Olly was always waiting. Ava spent her life chasing stories that mattered to the world. But in the end, the only story that mattered was the one that brought her back home. Sometimes, the life you're meant to live is found where you least expect it, built upon a connection you thought you had left behind. If this story touched your heart, please support the Ark and share this light. Protect the Alice of the world, and help others find their way home.